Okay, the recording has begun. So today we have the grand finals of after dinner. So if we have both of the competitors, let me just pull up the draw for who goes first. So we have Joshua and Madeline. So the first one who will go is Joshua Shin. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay, so if you can open your camera and whenever you're ready, you can begin your speech.
yeah. Just before, I want to confirm that I'm audible and visible, please. Okay, I'll take that as yes. All right, thank you so much. I'll start my speech in three, two, one. Good evening, my esteemed great leaders, big brothers, supreme commanders, emperors, Führers, and of course, His Excellency President for Life, Field Marshal Adhiji Dr. VCDSO MC, Lord of the Beasts of the Earth and Fish of the Sea, and Conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. What a mouthful. It's an honor to stand before you guys, a gathering of history's greatest political opportunists. Genghis Khan, always a pleasure. Stalin, your mustache is looking sharp. Kim Jong il, we love your timeless hair. I know it's been a rough few millennia, but let's dive in, shall we? Welcome to the annual conference of tyrants with absolute thuggery, or twat. Never mind. Where we review the year's highs, lows, and regrettable ways that we have undermined democracy. Now, firstly, to address the elephant in the room, what are we doing, guys? 2024 was an absolute win for democracy and an absolute loss for us. 76 countries containing over half the world's population went to the ballot box more than ever before in history. Protests hit an all-time high, and even the most loyal propaganda networks started airing factual content. It's been a brutal year for tyranny, but fear not. We're here to learn from our failures and ensure 2025 is a year of calculated, efficient, and dare I say, stylish authoritarianism. Our first quarter reports show a troubling trend. Starting martial law with tanks is losing its charm. Tanks are expensive, they're hard to park, and scream we're overcompensating for something. Public perception data suggests citizens prefer subtlety. So, replace tanks with food trucks, distribute free snacks with a mandatory compliance leaflet attached. A crowd eating tacos rarely organizes protests. Speaking of tanks, Yoon Suk Yeol, I see you in the back. Maybe next time, avoid the part where you draft martial law plans before protests even start. It's like showing up to a dinner party with a sledgehammer. People get suspicious. Oh, and maybe build your parliament walls slightly higher so that a man in his 60s can't just jump over it. On stream, it's frankly embarrassing how unplanned you were. Now, by the second quarter, we saw declines in the effectiveness of the old announce arrest abolish right strategy. It's predictable and, frankly, uninspired. Real savvy despots will experiment with alternatives. Firstly, announce free Wi Fi. Citizens are much more likely to stay home tweeting if they have better internet. Just quietly monitor them. Secondly, arrest with style. Skip the midnight raids. Instead, invite dissidents to patriotic brunches. Who doesn't love pancakes with a side of re education? Thirdly, abolish rights? No, rebrand them. Replace freedom of speech with curated communication. Offer citizens pilot programs for collective opinions. It's all in the phrasing. Bashar, maybe work on this. Your PR campaign has all the charm of a middle school PowerPoint. Think fewer propaganda posters, more TikToks. The just bombing things aesthetic doesn't play well with the Gen Z. Now, guys, the third quarter was all about spin. Remember, colleagues, you don't impose martial law anymore. You launch national stabilization initiatives. Words matter. People protested against martial law in 2024, but no one rioted over a temporary harmonious restructuring of liberties. Better yet, leverage influencers. Imagine hashtag curfew goals trending. Pay them to post about how much easier life is when the government makes all the decisions. Hand out freedom swag bags, a loaf of bread, a power bank, and a friendly pamphlet on why elections are overrated. Trust me, public relations isn't just for democracies anymore. The Georgian Dream Party. You all really put the dream in pipe dream when it comes to strong arming democracy. If your Russian law plans get out organized by a bunch of teenagers with TikTok accounts, it's maybe time to reassess your strategy. Maybe stop paying for votes with potatoes. Gen Z wants something better. Think energy drinks, sneakers, and boxing matches. Finally, a despot's wardrobe is key. Remember, you all are not just rulers, you all are fashion icons. Camouflage is practical, but it lacks the flair. Why not try a tailored suit with subtle military detailing, or go bold with a signature accessory? A sash, a monocle, or even a crown if you're feeling retro. Gaddafi had his gold lame, Pinochet had his aviators. You need something that screams, yes, I'm in charge, but I'm also kind of approachable. So Yoon, ditch your slack suits and greasy hair. If you're going to undermine democracy, dress like it. Another lesson, it's never your fault. If things go south, never admit fault. Blame foreign agitators, crypto bros, or even the weather. People love a scapegoat. Georgian Dream, your attempt to blame Western influences for democratic protests was like watching a kid blame the dog for eating their homework. Creative, but unconvincing. And if that fails, uh, aliens. Who's going to argue with we had to impose martial law because extraterrestrials infiltrated our democracy? Guys, it's foolproof. 2024 was tough, but it's also a learning opportunity. Ladies and despots, 2024 was the year democracy struck back, but 2025 can be different. With creativity, subtlety, and a well-timed propaganda campaign, we can reclaim that narrative. Remember, it's not about brute force, it's about finesse. Together, we'll ensure that limited autonomy is the buzzword for the year. Thank you for your time, your egos, and your questionable ethics. May your regimes last as long as your monuments. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to curate some of my dessert options. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was 6 minutes and 41 seconds. Thank you very much for that speech. And we move on to our second competitor, Madelyn Li. Madelyn, are you ready?
Yeah, am I visible and audible? Okay. Resolved, united, determined, engaged. These are the words we stand for and what our very foundation is known for. Rude! Well, that's the foundation's name. We resolve issues like skateboarders. We unite as Karens. We are determined to scream in your face, and we are engaged in everything we do. Hi, my name is Karen Jane Watson, and to clarify, that's Karen with 2 Ks. And I just wanted to say that as the co-founder of Rude, I am so happy to see so many beautiful and familiar haircuts that usually consist of a short bob and a side part. Every year, we come for an annual meeting of Rude and discuss problems we must solve. Karens. Karen. We've solved the world's biggest threats. We've gone on every platform to stand our ground. But now comes the dark age, a time where not even vaccines can upstage the horrors. I'm talking about books. We have a serious issue brewing within the learning environment of our dear children. Teachers can't seem to do their jobs anymore because all they complain about is low pay. They act as if we don't pay our tax. Not that I don't pay my tax. Moving on. As a mother of a 6-year-old, I'm sure you all understand the great importance of our children's future. I'll cut to the point. Today, I have accumulated 3 books that I believe are going to endanger the children's sanity and cause havoc. Now, don't fret. I'll burn these books in the stove afterwards. But brace yourselves, Karens. These are quite horrifying books. Number 1, The Lorax. My son came home to me one day with a book featuring a little orange man. At first, I thought maybe it was our Lord and Savior Trump. But when I went through the book, oh, how the horrors persist. It's one thing to be anti-Trump, but to be an environmentalist. Not only did this orange thing tell children the most utter garbage about saving trees, but it also lies. Does this Seuss man not know that climate change isn't real? It's these illusions that environmentalists create to take your money and distract us from innovating, just like the orange man always does. The one in the story, I mean. Ban this book! But Karens, I'm afraid it only gets worse on out from here, so I'd advise you to take some deep breaths. Corduroy Bear! Corduroy Bear is a toy at a store that no one wants because of a missing button. Corduroy wants a home. Does this sound familiar? That's because it's homelessness! The button that is missing is symbolizing the job that is lacking, and no one wants the toy because it's unemployed. A fitting ending, really, until I continued to read the book. The homeless bear finds a home and a little girl who will love him forever. What in tarnation? So now kids are learning to shelter the homeless and put more tax into welfare programs, and that homeless people will always have it good? What if my kid aspires to be a homeless? Corduroy doesn't have a job. It's his fault that no one wants to be his landlord. But these books want to tell us that people can be lazy and still get housed. Actually, that sounds a lot like my dog Maxie. Moving on. Book number 3. The Giving Tree. Oh, my mama bear gut rang a hospital alarm when I saw the cover of this book. Observing it felt like a funeral. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. The Giving Tree? Giving? Okay, well, what else was giving? Communism! The book cover has a boy in red overalls holding a red apple. What else does red represent? Communism! All the red flags, no, all the communist flags were right there in the very start. Now, did I actually read the book? No, but that's because my hands were shaking in fear. If the book cover was already a communist propaganda poster, who knows could be in there? A chip that sells your China data to China? I mean, a nuke could set off in there if I opened it. Oh my Lord. This is not what rude people, resolved, united, determined, engaged, people do. If all of our children learn to be communists, how will democracy prevail? I always knew that Shel Silverstein man was secretly a communist sympathizer. After sharing these vile things, I hope we know just how dangerous our children's libraries truly are. So what's the moral, Karens? What am I saying we should really do? I've made a resolution that prohibits all books that have anything to do with climate change, communism, race, gender. Oh, the Lord. Oh my Lord, it's 20 pages. Well, I'm not going through this resolution. Just, I guess, feel free to download the PDF on our rude website. Questions? Oh, yes, the hand in the back. Yes, of course. If kids don't read a variety of books, won't it hurt their learning? You can't be serious. Oh, yes, you are. Okay, well, I never really thought about that. Maybe reading is important to foster the learning for our children, and we should let them read what they want to explore different perspectives. And honestly, maybe we should stop berating every little thing, is what I would say if I was insane and not the co-founder of Rude. So I think you need to leave. That question was highly inappropriate. I'll be speaking to your manager after this. Thank you.